Good day, all of my colleagues and all of you wonderful, outstanding jurists that are coming to New York. I want to welcome each and every one of you personally and on behalf of the National Bar Association Judicial Council. Welcome to New York to the 94th NBA Convention. My name is Judge Luke Laverne, and I'm retired. I spent 18 years on the bench in the 19th Judicial District Court for the East Baton Rouge Parish in Louisiana. I was born in Louisiana and raised in Louisiana. But I spent 23 and a half years in the Air Force, and I'm a retired Air Force major as well. I went to undergraduate school in Nebraska, University of Nebraska, and got my law degree from LSU. Well, the NBA Judicial Council has had a major impact on my life and throughout my career as a jurist. And I've been part of that organization for the last 25 years. The origins of it, of course, it was formed in 1971, and Judge Charles Crockett was our first chair of that organization. And now I'm the 48th chair of the Judicial Council. I'm currently serving as the chair. My term ends this coming July. But when I said it had a major impact, the impact is thus. We meet judges from all over the country, all levels of the judiciary, from municipal court to the Supreme Court of the states. And we have a real wonderful camaraderie among the judges, because most of the judges where they serve, they are isolated. They have no one to lean on, no shoulder to cry on, or to run things by without being suspicious of them. So when we get together as a group, we can share our stories with each other and unwind to go back to our it's high tension. It's a high tension. You wound up most of the time in your place where you work, and you're alone. If you are a minority judge in this country, you would benefit greatly by joining the National Bar Association Judicial Council.
I am Judge Michael Beck, Narus, retired. I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm a very proud member of the National Bar Association's the Judicial Council. I attended Yale University as a undergraduate, and my law degree is from Tulane University. My travel or my road to the judgeship, I'm sure, is very similar to many others. The Judicial Council is it's so difficult to put in words what that particular organization does for one, because you feel like your soul has been dipped into the waters of justice. You just feel like you're ready to go out and meet all the Jim Crows, all the racism, all the sexism, all the injustices that exist in our world. Once you get to with all these individuals from all across the continent, once they come in and you feed on each other, and you learn from each other, and you network with each other. There's no comparing it to any other organization when you start talking about what the NBA and the Judicial Council does for an individual who is interested in practicing law or administering over the bench or advocating.
Hello, my name is Judge Yvette Mansfield Alexander, and I serve on the Baton Rouge City Court in the great state of Louisiana. My proudest moment of being a member of the National Bar Association Judicial Council was when I was elected chair of this council. It was a dream come true for me I remember my first time coming to the Judicial Council and just watching the chairs and the officers and the board members and what they represented, how they carried themselves, what issues they discussed, and thinking one day I could be chair of the National Bar Association. My proudest moment was the moment when I became chair and I did my midwinter conference in St. Martin. My father came over to preach the convocation service. My whole family came. It was a glorious time. And even though we were having many difficulties, many struggles in the Judicial Council at that time, my father knew none of that, but his whole sermon was dedicated to how we could solve these problems. Look at God work. He can really, really work, and he did work in the Judicial Council. That was one of my proudest moments, being the chair of the National Bar Association Judicial Council.
Hello, I'm Johnny Hardwick, presiding judge for the 15th Judicial Circuit in Montgomery, Alabama. I've been a member of the NBA for many, many years, and once I became a judge, I joined the NBA Judicial Council, where I've served as the chair, the 46th chair of the NBA Judicial Council. As a member of the council, made many friends. We've exchanged a lot of ideas at our midwinter and annual conventions. I continue to share friendships with many of the judges that I've met in the NBA.
Hello, my name is Justice Sheldon Louise Marie Hall of the Illinois Appellate Court, Chicago, Illinois. The National Bar Association has been central to my legal career. After graduating from Hampton Institute, I attended Boston University Law School. In 1972, we started the student division of the National Bar Association, and then along with Junius Williams and others, we started the Young Lawyers Division. Of course, you know that I cannot stop talking without saying something about my big sis, Justice L. Priscilla Hall. She and I are the nation's first Black elected sister judges and first Black sister appellate court judges. We continue to serve the Judicial Council of the National Bar Association whenever needed, encouraging young leaders, honoring the past, still committed to the theme of my year as chairman, unity without uniformity. I thank you for this time.
Hello, my name is Denise Langford Morris. I am a judge of the Oakland Circuit Court here in the 6th Circuit, Oakland County, Michigan. I've served on the bench for 27 years. I began my journey as a judge back in 1992, but I had accomplished quite a bit before I ever made it to the judiciary. I started out as a proud product of the Detroit public school system, born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I have the honor and privilege of serving as an elected judge, initially appointed in '92, and having won 5 general elections since then. Well, I'm always mentoring and looking for young lawyers and judges to be more active in the National Bar Association and the National Bar Association Judicial Council. In fact, recently I co-chaired the event in Panama, our midwinter, along with Judge Randa Trapp, and I was so proud to recognize Judge Deborah Nance, who is here in Southfield, Michigan, as a relatively new judge. She just won her 2nd term, so she's in her 7th year. But she came. I've been trying to get many, many more. And we have many judges in Michigan that have been active in the Judicial Council and have participated with us in the past. My friend here locally, Judge Karen Ford Hood, she has been involved, Judge Penny Millender, Judge Terrence Keith. We're always looking for more, however. I want to encourage those because the National Bar Judicial Council is an organization where you meet so many that are first so many that are active within their various states and bar associations, so many that are leaders within their community. And I encourage everyone that has an opportunity that works in the legal field to get active, because as you know, we have a long way to go, and we are always under scrutiny as Black judges. We always need the assistance of great lawyers, and we need everyone to please stand up and be active in the National Bar Association Judicial Council.
I'm Ted Newman. I was chair of the Judicial Council from about, I think it was 77, 78. I succeeded Glenn Johnson, Intermediate Court of Appeals, Chicago, Illinois. I had joined the National Bar in the late 1960s or early 1970. My first convention was 1973 in San Francisco when I joined the Judicial Council. I think the Judicial Council is important for all Black judges for a variety of reasons. Most importantly, networking and shared common human experience. I have found great succor and help in being able to discuss common problems with members of the council. I think anyone would likely share the same experience if they were to join the council. Remember, the battle is not won, the fight continues. Nirvana is never.
My name is Priscilla Hall. I was born in Cuero, Texas, which is a very small town 2 hours south of Houston that no one ever heard of. My father was a preacher, my mother was a teacher. We were part of the Black migration, moved from Texas to Chicago. So obviously we got confused. We should have been in Texas with the rest of, in California with the rest of the Texans, but we went to Chicago because my father was called to pastor a church, Friendship Baptist Church on the west side of Chicago. And that, let me segue into the Judicial Council there, because that is one of the strengths of the Judicial Council. Judges who are in their various courts, in their various states, we get to come together several times a year and talk about that. We go to the Judicial Council where seminars are provided on issues or topics that are relevant to your everyday practice. More importantly, you get to meet judges from across the state and across the nation. And you can talk to them about the same kind of issues that you have and see if they have faced the same kind of problems. And then you can talk about how to resolve that. So that's one of the main attributes of the Judicial Council that I appreciate, that you meet state judges, you meet federal judges, and you meet giants of the industry, Fred Gray, Thurgood Marshall. You meet all of these people at the National Bar. You get a chance to talk to them, they will talk to you, and they will listen to you. So, as I said, George Bundy Smith, it's just all around the country. There are judges that you know, that you've met, and if you have a problem, if you have a question, you can call any of them. They're always receptive.
Greetings, I'm Judge Randa Trapp from the San Diego Superior Court, and I am honored and privileged to have served as chair of the Judicial Council in 2014 and 2015. The National Bar Association and the Judicial Council have been very important to me in my development as a lawyer and as a judge. I attended my first NBA annual meeting in 1989 and have not missed an annual meeting since then. So this year, while we're in New York, I will celebrate my 30th annual meeting. So it's been a wonderful career, aided by all of the mentoring and friendships that I've developed as a member of the National Bar Association and through my participation in the Judicial Council. Again, I'm honored to have served and continue to hold the Judicial Council near and dear to my heart.
Judge Johnson, the NBA Judicial Council was started in 1971. and the first chair was George Crockett. Did you happen to know the first
I
chair?
remember George. He was a judge from, I knew him when he was in Detroit, and he was an excellent judge, and he's a wonderful human being. And I thought that he was still alive, but I understand he's going on to meet the Lord, huh?
The Judicial Council was started to eradicate racial and class bias within the judicial system and to improve public confidence in the judiciary. Do you think that that is still a need today?
A great need. A lot of people tout how wonderful the judiciary is and diversity. That's not accurate. There's a need for more diversity in state court and federal court. As I said before, when I got here in the Eastern District, I was only the second African American federal judge to sit on this bench. I was here about 15 years before we got another federal judge of color. That was Sandra Towns, and she went home to see the Lord. And I think we have 4 now on the bench.
You know, and I think that the NBA Judicial Council is important, not just to ensure that the judiciary is diverse, and that's extremely important because it promotes public confidence. You know, I remember when I was a new judge, whenever an African American litigant would come in and see me with my African braids, they would go, yes! And I think that's because they felt that they were going to get a fair shake. So it's not just about diversity, it's also making sure that we keep our justice system honest. And when I mean honest, I don't mean in terms of corruption, but I mean in terms of being responsive to the needs of the public. And I think that African American judges in particular have the correct background and the right views to make sure that our court system remains accessible to all. And our court system is not always accessible to, particularly, when I mean accessible, not in terms of reaching, but in terms of fairness, in terms of resources, in terms of a lot of things, not always accessible to people of color.
It's been my pleasure. I have learned so much. I am really so humbled and honored just to sit here. I didn't bring my robe, so thank you for lending the robe. I had no intentions on putting on a robe to sit here with both of you.